Welcome to r/Best of Redditor updates, where OP's boyfriend has joined an underground fight club. Our next Reddit post comes from r/True Off My Chest. My boyfriend comes home injured every day, and he won't tell me why. I'm a 26-year-old woman, and I live with my boyfriend who's 23. He's the love of my life. He's always been honest with me about everything, but recently, I feel like he's been hiding something bad from me. Because for the past 2 months, every time he returns home after work, he's bruised and injured. Not like small injuries either, but really visible injuries like bruises, cuts on his abdomen and legs, bad injuries. The worst injury he had was 13 days ago. He came home at midnight and I was still awake doing some work, and his whole hair and face was messed up. Part of his hair was cut off, and he had bad swelling on his cheekbone area. He also had a black eye. When I saw him, I was trying to ask what the F happened to him, and he just told me that he didn't want to talk about it. I've tried to do anything to just get some information from him, but he refuses to give me any. He keeps telling me not to worry about it. I've told him that I'd also go to the cops to report what's happening to him, but he's pleaded with me every time to not, or else he would break up with me. I am so effing worried for him, and I feel like I can't do anything. He hasn't done anything to deserve any of this, and I've been trying to come up with anything, but I can't. He truly is a person who lives a simple life. The only reason I've come up with is that my boyfriend is one of the few minorities in a very conservative city, but even then he has friends and connections. Beneath that, a commenter says, I bet he owes someone money. OP says, I really doubt that. He's never been the type of person to do something like that. And as far as I know, he isn't in any type of serious debt. Another person says, then how the hell else is he getting so injured? Is he part of a fight club? What does he do for work? And OP replies, pediatric nursing. Then 3 days later, OP posted an update. I asked my boyfriend yesterday about what was really going on, and I threatened to rope in my family, the cops, and break up with him. I told him he was jeopardizing my own safety, and he had to tell me. After a lot of stalling, he eventually told me what it was. He's in a fight club. I guess the joking commenters were right. He's actually in a fight club like the movie. However, it's more complicated than he's just bored. He told me that his family in Vietnam, specifically his mom, are pressuring him a lot to give them more and more money. They've told him that if he doesn't give them enough money, they'll cut contact with him. And even though we both have pretty good jobs, he was struggling to match their demands, and he even stopped eating to give them more money. He heard about the fight club from his friends, and at first he thought that it wasn't any good. But he told me that he was getting really stressed from his family situation, and getting hit would relieve some of it. And once he heard that money was on the line, he decided to join in. That's the reason he refused to say anything about it, because, like the movie, he followed the first rule of Fight Club. That's also why he comes home sad. He's only using the Fight Club as a way to cope and earn some money on the side. That's also the reason why he would plead with me not to contact the police whenever I told him I would. Even though the actual, Fight Club itself isn't illegal, a lot of illegal activities like drugs were being done in the club itself. I've talked to him about helping him with some money or therapy, but he told me that he wants to deal with the issues himself. He told me that he doesn't want me to stress myself out just to help him. Down in the comments, predictably, people are telling OP that she needs to convince her boyfriend to stop sending money and to stop going to Fight Club. OP says, I told him that too, and he said that he would try. But it's gonna be a while, because he showed me just some of the payments he's giving to his family, and oh my god, the amount he's giving could actually pay some of our bills. Our next Reddit post comes from r/legal advice. I'm currently on vacation visiting family for Christmas. I'm a 20-year-old woman and a vegan by choice. However, I'm also allergic to red meat. I was bitten by a Lone Star tick, which caused me to develop a severe allergy to meat. My family makes fun of me for being vegan, though I cook for myself for all meals and I don't really bring it up. Anyway, I guess some of my extended family didn't know the severity of my allergy because my younger cousin, a 16-year-old guy, chopped up steak, extremely finely, I guess, and put it in my butternut squash soup. Shortly after I ate some of my soup, I couldn't breathe and I was breaking out in hives. I woke up in the hospital on Christmas Day. My mom called an ambulance when she saw that my face was swelling. My cousin didn't say sorry when I started breaking out in hives. He started laughing and told me what he'd done. I woke up to a text from him saying, "Stop overreacting, you need protein," with a picture of a slaughtered cow. His parents aren't very well off. In fact, I don't think they even have insurance. I just want to know, should I pursue a legal case, or is that an overreaction? Then, the next day, OP posted an update. I've had a free consultation with a personal injury lawyer, and I filed a police report like many of you suggested. I let my cousin, aunt, and uncle know this, and they immediately offered to pay my hospital bill and ambulance ride in full. My cousin gave me a half-hearted apology, and his parents told me that he won't be leaving the house for the next year and he'll be severely punished for this. I've decided not to press charges. I don't really have the money or time for it, and all I needed was my medical expenses paid. I just plan on not going to any family gatherings where he is for a long, long time. You know, it's really shocking how many stories we come across of people who just don't believe that allergies exist, as if they aren't some crazily documented thing. And why is it always allergies and not like, you never come across someone saying, "Oh, I don't believe colds exist," or "I don't believe cancer exists." It's always allergies and people poisoning people with allergic reaction foods. It's so weird. Our next Reddit post comes from r/PettyRevenge. My ex-boyfriend wanted to see a sold-out show to the Foo Fighters this summer. Him and his friends failed desperately in getting their hands on any tickets. I, however, managed to snag 2. I waited until Christmas to give them to him, and he was beyond excited, jumping up and down excited. Fast forward 1.5 awful months later, and he dumped me 2 days before Valentine's Day after literally ignoring me for 3 weeks. The entire breakup blindsided me after 1.5 years together. I haven't talked to him since, but little does he know that I wasn't quite finished with him yet. My brother just so happens to be a huge Foo Fighters fan as well. So I logged into my Ticketmaster account, and surprise, surprise, tickets can be transferred. So my brother is going to have the time of his life while my ex-boyfriend gets turned around at the doors. Sucks to suck. Then, 6 months later, OP posted an update. This morning, I received a text message from my brother letting me know that he could no longer make it to the concert, but that we would sell the tickets instead. I figured that since the concert is tonight, that I would message my ex-boyfriend and give him the chance to buy them, or I'd sell them to someone else. He never answered me, so I posted the tickets online. I was quickly contacted by a few people as the show is now sold out. I sold them to a nice girl who's taking her boyfriend for a fair price. I never thought about it afterwards. Around 5 p.m. that day, my phone suddenly starts going crazy. I have a message from my friend saying that my ex was texting her looking for my phone number. My dear friend, being the wonderful gal that she is, actually gave it to him. About 30 seconds later, I'm suddenly getting an incoming call from my ex. Like hell am I answering? I let it go to voicemail. I listened to the voicemail that he left me. "I still want those tickets. Please don't tell me that you sold them. Let me know." My phone was also getting multiple text messages from him. Like 6 messages in about 8 seconds from his friend. "We drove all this way and we paid for gas and a hotel. Seriously?" His friend said, "Hey, did you sell those concert tickets? He wanted me to ask." I decided to enjoy my supper, and then maybe I would answer them. Being the nice gal that I am, I told them, yeah, I sold them. The last thing my ex said was, "Thanks for that." So now they're in a city 2 hours away, stuck in a hotel room for the night with nothing to do while the Foos put on a slamming show. It still sucks to suck. Our next Reddit post comes from r/offmychest. So I became official with this guy a couple of months ago. He was sweet, kind, funny, gorgeous, the usual stuff. Everything was fine. We'd stay at each other's places, have date nights, general relationship stuff. In short, no red flags. A couple beige ones here and there, but everyone has those. Then came the other night. He's currently having to pick up the slack at his job due to multiple people quitting. We decided to spend the weekend at my place as his roommates can be quite loud, and he needed to concentrate on fixing a system at his job so that he can remotely work. Friday's fine. We stay in between his working, we do the usual couple stuff. Saturday comes, and something goes wrong at his work, and his stress is doubled. so he isn't eating anything that I make, which is fine. I simply remind him there are leftovers in the fridge. By 11 p.m., he's still working, so I head to bed. I'm then startled awake by him at 2 a.m. shaking me, telling me he's hungry now. Confused, I remind him about the leftovers and turn over to go back to sleep. But he gets grumpy and tells me I need to make him something fresh now. I'm honestly completely confused and so sleepy while he prattles on about coconut shrimp or something. Still half asleep, I just stare at him as I try to work out what the hell is happening. I'm guessing my silence pissed him off as he started having a go at me for not doing my duty as his girlfriend. That woke me up fully, and I told him to get out of my house. His attitude changed then, and he was apologizing, but I just repeated myself and he eventually left the room. I followed him, picked up his stuff, put it into a bag, and once again told him to get out. He looked like a deer in headlights. He kept trying to say sorry and hug me, and it was only when I threw his car keys into his arms that he realized I was serious and left. This was Sunday morning. It's now Monday night, and I still refuse to speak to him. He's tried calling and texting, but I'm honestly just annoyed and dumbfounded. I know I'll have to speak to him at some point, but I don't want to. He's an idiot. Then, the next day, OP posted an update. He came into my job to talk to me and explained that his friend saw a video of a woman being woken up to cook for her man, and they decided to test it out on their partners as a loyalty test. So, my initial judgment of him being an idiot was correct. He was surprised when I broke up with him, but he was calm and accepting, albeit sad. Either way, that's over with. Also, down in the comments, we have this pretty funny story from Campfires and Conifers. Back in about 1920, my great-grandpa came home drunk in the wee hours with a friend in tow. He woke up my great-grandma and insisted that she cook breakfast for both of them. She did it because she didn't want to wake the baby. He yelled at her that the breakfast wasn't any good. So she clocked him in the head with a frying pan. His friend immediately tried to sober up and assured her the food was just fine. I'm just imagining the sound effect in my head. This food sucks! Clang! Oh, ma'am, this food is delicious. This is the tastiest breakfast I've ever had. Our next Reddit post is from r/momit, which is an advice subreddit for moms. We moved into a new house about a year ago so that my 3-year-old son, who turns 4 next month, can have his own room. We thought the transition would be rough, but he took to his room almost immediately and we've had no issues. He loves his room, has all of his toys in there, and bedtime routines went smoothly. Most nights, he dozes off after a couple of stories and a smooch to the head. He has his night lights and we keep his door open, even though he never mentioned being scared of the dark. Something changed on July 4th. He spent a good chunk of the afternoon playing in his room, even refusing to come downstairs for a bit. That same night, and every night since, he refuses to go into his room at all, insisting on sleeping in our room. He won't go in with us holding his hands, and if we're able to get him in for a second to retrieve a specific toy, he won't go all the way in, and then he'll immediately run away back down the hall. He has no problem taking a bath in his bathroom across the hall, but he insists that we keep the bathroom door closed. Then he runs straight from the bathroom to our room. We've asked him in all sorts of ways why he doesn't want to go into his room, and he'll deflect either by screaming or giggle while naming every animal he can think of. We're guessing he had a nightmare at some point, but he did spend the afternoon in his room with no problem on the day this started. We're not getting anywhere here, and as a result, I've been sleeping in his room while he shares our bed with my husband. Maybe I'm looking for someone who had a similar experience with their child that can offer up some fresh ideas, or maybe I'm just venting because I miss my bed. Ugh! Then, 1 month later, OP posted an update. A few days ago, I got my son to acknowledge a couple of toys from the doorway, and he stepped in a little bit with encouragement. I then took the opportunity to point at objects in his room, and he had a huge reaction to a Marvel poster that had been hanging over his bed since we moved in a year ago. He ran to our bedroom and hid under the covers, so I took the poster off the wall and walked it through the hallway. I stopped at our room for confirmation, and he freaked out when he saw I was holding it. I told him the poster was going in the garbage, and he's never going to see it again. I threw it away downstairs, then came back upstairs and told him it was gone. He leapt out of our bed and hurried down the hall to his room and jumped in excitement that the evil face is gone. He then screamed in excitement about his Mario Kart bid, tossed my pillow off, threw his Mario pillow on, and tucked himself in. I was so ecstatic that I danced around with him for the rest of the night, singing, "No more evil face!" We played with all the toys that he missed. He slept in his room that night, and he's been spending even more time in his room playing by himself. He brings up nightly that the evil face is gone and his room is fun. That was r/Best of Redditor updates, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.